Welcome to Rewired Sober, the podcast about reinvention, identity, and the art of evolving. I'm Kate Vitella, a psychiatric nurse, speaker, and recovering perfectionist who is endlessly fascinated by how women reinvent themselves. So here we talk about identity, psychology, style, of course, fashion, midlife, feminism, body image, all the fucking things. And yes, the story of my sobriety will be woven in because getting sober was not the end. It was just the beginning. So whether you're rebuilding your life or simply questioning the one that you've outgrown, you're in the right place. Stick with me. Let's get into it. Welcome back to Rewired Sober, all my sober lovelies, another episode. This one's really special to me because I have been sitting on this for a long time, unsure of what direction I wanted to go. I have done all the things, journaled, prayed, sought out a lifestyle coach, went to a tarot card reader, went for long walks by the beach, soul-searching journeys, meditated, all the things, because I wasn't exactly sure how I wanted to do this. I am at 86 fucking episodes. This is 87. And when I say that out loud, it honestly surprises me that I've come this far. This started out as a bit of a pipe dream because, as I've said many times, in early sobriety, podcasts saved my life. Listening to other people's stories and their voice in my ear on walks and times that I didn't feel like being in a meeting, long drives, constantly having this narrative and feeling less alone, hearing other women, especially those in early recovery, talking about their journey was so helpful to me. And I really thought, gosh, one day I'm going to start a podcast. So here I am. And for many of you, you've been with me on this journey since the beginning. This started out called You've Been Selected. Then I changed the artwork and I changed the title and I changed the artwork again. And so I thought this time when I pivot, by now you would know me that I am the queen of reinvention and that I'm sort of becoming unapologetic for constantly evolving and more proud of the fact that I'm changing, growing, learning, and becoming. And that's really, ironically, the premise of this whole entire chapter 2. In the beginning of Rewired Sober, we talked about a lot of the things that are really important in early recovery and returning to alcohol through relapse or neuroscience, emotional literacy, shame, healing, the boundaries, the grief, all of it, all of what it takes to rebuild a life after drinking. And I don't regret a single episode. Well, there's some pieces where I made an ass of myself, but I don't regret the journey and I don't regret introducing the topics. And this podcast was really born from one of the hardest seasons of my life. Getting sober at 38, it didn't just change my relationship with alcohol. It changed my relationship with myself. And now, close to 10 years later, it's changed how I practice nursing and how I view women and love women and love people. It's changed how I've handled pain and how I understand, the science of the brain and compassion. There's so much change in me that I think it would be almost impossible for me to continue ranting on about early sobriety. And so I think it's just the natural evolution of something that's happened over the past 8 years of my sobriety, 8.5 years. Life keeps unfolding. And I'm actually really proud of this because, as we say, recovery isn't the destination. It's just the doorway to a new life. And getting sober really taught me how to survive. And now I want to talk about how women come fully alive, particularly in midlife. I'm going to swear a lot. I'm going to talk about fashion. I'm going to bring in a feminist lens. But there are so many things that I'm excited to talk about in womaning that don't have much to do with alcohol. And I've said this many times in my coaching sessions with clients, we rarely talk about alcohol. We don't even really talk much about sobriety. We talk about boundaries and burnout and womaning and societal expectations and relationships, careers, body image, pain, trauma, all the things. I mean, we really talk about why women start disappearing in midlife and why confidence feels so fucking complicated for all of us. So I think again, I'm going to say this just feels like the right decision. So welcome to chapter 2. And moving forward, I'm going to be talking about fashion and beauty and psychology and the stories we tell ourselves about our body image and, what I'm going through at the age of 47 and a half, which is perimenopause, and all the aspects of my new life as a sober woman, the creativity and the feminism. Wow, this episode has really just become me listing all the things. But really, it's this weird conglomerate. It's this beautiful, messy process of becoming that I want to spend the next chapter talking about. And I've got some really cool guests lined up. And I think it's going to be separate from recovery, but not. Because of course, that's what made all this possible, right? It's what gave me my life back. But I really want to talk about living my life, right? The name of the podcast is going to stay the same because I still 1000% believe in being rewired. Only now, rewired means something bigger to me. It means rewiring entire old systems and beliefs and perfectionism, rewiring the woman who was people-pleasing, reevaluating, rewiring the way we were taught to think about ourselves and aging and beauty, and questioning those stories that we've inherited about all the fucking things, not just alcohol, and deciding which stories still deserve a place in our lives. I mean, will I talk about sobriety? Absolutely. It would be impossible not to. That chapter isn't closed, but it's woven into the tapestry of who I am. I may have guests on where we don't talk about it at all, and I may not, but the point is that it's become so much of the fabric of who I am in my interests and creativity now that it's going to be an underlying theme no matter what. So I can see it still showing up in many, many of the episodes, even talking about fashion or menopause or confidence, right? Because there's so much psychology there. And so I can't help it being a psychiatric nurse. The other thing I wanted to share with my audience, because I share everything else, and you poor women have been with me through this whole journey, is that I'm also contemplating some career change. And I've been applying at various grad schools, and I'm looking into a master's and a psychiatric nurse practitioner license. And I hope 10 years from now, I'm a different person again. I hope I'm still evolving, still learning and questioning all the recitations of womanhood and recovery and life. And I've done so much personal evaluation on what's important to me. And one thing that keeps coming up for me, and I had a session with a mindset coach, and she wanted me to name the first thing that comes up for me when I talk about what I actually want, no filter. And really, it's joy. It's to delight in my life and to build a body of work around what it means to be fully human. And all of that is important to me as a contribution. And I quit looking at metrics of this podcast as how many people are downloading it, how many people are paying attention, how many people are talking about it, how many compliments am I getting? Who cares, right? This is a body of work that I'm building throughout my evolution, and many of you have come along the journey with me. I mean, you may even have to go to grad school with me. I mean, I hate to say it. For some reason, this microphone has become the pen to my autobiography. And that's another thing is I want to start writing again. And I wrote for 3 or 4 years for the Sober Curator, and I no longer contribute to that publication. And I'd like to start my own Substack or some other medium or articles here and there. I've got a lot of ideas. And And I'm sharing this with you because I see my clients go through this. We have all these new ideas and avenues we want to explore once we get sober and once we start rebuilding a life we really want. And so I want to embody that, and I want to live that and demonstrate that for you in real time. And I hope that if you're still on the path of sobriety or sober curious, that you'll stick around, because I have a feeling that together we're going to see that getting sober is never the whole story. It's just the beginning. So here's chapter 2, to becoming, to curiosity, to style, to womanhood. I'm going to say all the fucking quiet parts out loud. So you're going to see a new Canva graphic. Maybe you'll see a new Canva graphic every week because I fucking love Canva and it's really fun to build things. But of course, there'll be various aspects of this I'll change, but it'll still just be me ranting. Another thing I wanted to share is, this is what I've been doing a lot of praying about, is that I am going to be closing my one-on-one coaching practice while I go back to school. For the past few years, it has been an absolute fucking privilege to walk alongside women in early sobriety through the one-on-one coaching. And that has taught me so much. Those conversations have taught me just as much as I hope they've helped the women I've worked with. I mean, I have so much gratitude for every woman who trusted me with their story. And I feel like I have evolved and grown right alongside of people. So as I go into sort of a new chapter, I really want to focus my energy on grad school, becoming a nurse practitioner, writing, and speaking. I'm going to be applying to various speaking entities. So if you are an event promoter, reach out to me. But I want to work toward creating conversations that reach more women through this podcast and through other projects. And, I'm really trying to make room for what comes next. So I'll be taking out the coaching link from my website to, schedule discovery calls from me because I won't be taking on new clients. I'll be wrapping up with those I have. In the future, I may do some group containers, but I'm going to just leave that open to the universe right now because I am going through such a big period of transition that I want to be on the mic talking about joyful things and exploring various topics. And I don't want this to be about one big infomercial to become a client. I can't stand when I listen to coaches who have podcasts that sound like one big infomercial to sign up for their program. It's super annoying. So hang out with me and let's just go on this journey together. If I have something to offer, I'll say it here, I'll offer a link, but I'm not even worried about that right now. I mean, so whether we've worked together one-on-one or cross-pass online, or you've just been listening while you're, doing laundry, you've been a huge part of my journey and I don't take any of that for granted. I just want to be really transparent about the direction I'm heading. So the conversation is not ending. In fact, I'm super excited because I feel like the fun is just beginning. The next few years, I'm staring down the barrel of 50 years old. And I'm looking at my whole life as another chapter. 1 through 50, I was this version of me. And 50 through 150 or however the fuck old people live these days, dear God, we're living forever. I have a feeling that next chapter is going to be the most interesting one yet. So thank you so much for being here. It was so hard to put into words all the changes coming, but I hope you stick around and laugh with me and evolve and grow and explore. So we'll meet again in the next episode. Thanks for tuning in. You can connect with me on all the socials at Rewired Sober or my personal Instagram at Kate Vitella. If you are interested in having me speak at an event or workshop, reach out to me. I'm always happy to do so. Slide into my DMs. I want to know what you're thinking, what topics you'd like to hear about. I mean, dude, let's face it, I need friends too. So thanks for hanging out with me.